Hello class, my name is Brandon Coulter. I will be presenting today in terms of publishing and increasing accessibility for published works. Entertainment marketing in the industry faces several issues regarding the improvements of accessibility of published works, and that is what I will be discussing today in this presentation. So before getting into the issues of published works and accessibility as well as how it relates to marketing, I just want to go over a quick brief history of published works. So it began with the first writings. Scribes copied all work by hand. In 1436, a man named Johannes Gutenberg brought about the printing press. So this was able to bring books more widely available among the public, which was very important for the history of publishing. Pretty much this widespread of publishing really allowed for the beginning and development and spread of literacy, and it's crucial to the development of our country. So when looking at the issues of accessing published works, there are several issues that arise with the accessibility of published works. One of these key issues in terms of improving accessibility is actually digital accessibility. Ensuring content is digitally accessible has become a critical as entertainment content moves forward and more digital. There are still a lot of digital platforms such as websites, mobile apps, and streaming services that don't have enough accessibility features for people like with impairments and stuff like that. So this covers problems including poorly designed navigation screens, bad captioning for videos, inaccessible interfaces. So there's a little quote right here, and it says, "In today's digital world, accessibility is a vital consideration for businesses across various industries. The publishing sector is no exception. Digital accessibility is crucial for publishers as technology shapes information and content interaction." So this quote kind of just explains the changing scenery for published works and why it's so important to emphasize the role that digital platforms play in accessibility. Business growth and market expansion are huge reasons why marketers must pay attention to this. Accessible content benefits viewers by using inclusion, adhering to legal requirements, and opening up growth prospects. So inclusivity and equal access are also important aspects that can show why improving the accessibility of digital published works is super important. Digital accessibility just guarantees that people with impairments may interact with and view published material across a long range of platforms. So when looking at more current event issues that are really impacting the accessibility of published works, we can look at new technology and requirements that are involved, as well as the new cost barriers associated with said technology that present issues. So compatibility issues pose challenges for certain individuals in accessing entertainment content. While technological advancements have improved significantly over the years, there are still issues that need to be addressed. Ensuring compatibility among a wide range of audience remains a priority, and for good reason. Technological barriers in published works should be solved by being able to find solutions to these issues, and it will be crucial in improving the accessibility of published works on a big scale. Equal access to information, market expansion, and innovation are all ways that we are fixing the technological barriers. In this way, we can bring forth more and more accessibility. So looking at the other issue faced with publishing is when we look at the cost barriers that are in the way of more accessibility. So these cost barriers are often in place when looking at enhancements, whether it be providing closed captioning, audio descriptions, or alternate formats for people with disabilities. Although these modifications are necessary and they guarantee everyone has access to published works, they can be super expensive for distributors and content providers, especially smaller businesses with just tighter budgets. So these budget restrictions and the requirement for accessibility continue to be a major issue for the sector. This is a key issue for the publishing industry because it poses problems and issues for accessibility, as well as the critical thinking needed to determine the best course of action. So financial obstacles, entertainment companies can utilize tactics to lessen these obstacles and enhance their accessibility. Strategy, collaboration, and long-term investments are in accessibility. The entertainment sector can overcome these obstacles doing just that. It guarantees that published works are more reachable to all audiences regardless of their financial means. So next, we're going to just talk about the marketing impacts. Just overall, what impacts do accessibility in published works have on marketing in and of itself? So first, we can discuss just content representation. So from a marketing lens, it's important to note that content itself plays a crucial role in marketing. However, a lack of diversity and representation in published works can take marketing efforts off track by eliminating potential consumers, limiting the effectiveness of a marketing campaign, and many other things. Marketing channels serve as conduits for delivering their content to consumers. Marketers will always rely on these channels to bring forth their published works and should make it a priority. Missed opportunities to interact with different consumer categories and decreased marketing effectiveness might result from material that lacks diversity. So, published works may also fail to represent diverse characters and voices through the content they create, which in turn can and will result in reduced trust and reduced loyalty, and this can cause the success of a marketing campaign to drop significantly. So, in today's age, it is important to converge these audiences into various forms of media and channels. Failure to do that can hinder convergence attempts, limiting the reach and accessibility of diverse audiences. This will also not go well for marketing efforts. So all of these reasons are important to keep in mind when looking at content representation in published works, as well as the steps taken to market it. So we actually touched on this a little bit earlier, but it is actually huge in terms of the marketing lens. So this next key issue of accessibility in published works as it relates to marketing is going to be those technological barriers as well as user experiences. So inaccessible websites or mobile applications can get in the way of a user experience in terms of content. If a consumer encounters issues with accessibility trying to access content, it can frustrate them and steer them away from the brand. Channels must also be accessible to all users, which means ensuring websites are compatible with screen readers, closed captions, and interactive elements. When looking at conduit, it's important to make sure that you know that failure to address technological barriers can actually lead to the exclusion of potential consumers trying to access that published work. So having an easy user experience is crucial for marketers to understand in terms of consumption. So if a consumer encounters accessibility barriers while interacting with content, they may give up on the process altogether, resulting in lost opportunities for that brand. When we look at convergence, the accessibility must be in place across all converging media platforms. Once again, this is just to ensure a consistent user experience. So this way of addressing technological barriers ensures that marketers have a better chance of limiting published accessibility through the utilization of those 4 C's. So yeah, facing these technological barriers head on can really lead to increased accessibility of published works as well as have multiple other benefits associated with it. So the last marketing impact as it relates to entertainment marketing in terms of publishing and accessibility would be the legal compliances and how they are a roadblock to the accessibility of published works. From a marketing standpoint, it is important to look at the 4 C's once again to understand how this issue can be faced and solved. So the way that content is presented and distributed is determined by legal regulations. It is very important to know that. This example pretty much shows that marketers need to understand these legal compliances, and a failure to do so can result in legal repercussions and damage to the brand's reputation. Channels must also adhere to accessibility standards and guidelines in a conduit sense. This includes providing alternate text for images, ensuring keyboard accessibility, and designing content with color considerations. So, not taking accessibility standards seriously can also result in exposing the brand to legal risks, as well as ruining their image. So, in terms of convergence, converging the marketing channels must be incorporated in terms with being in line with the legal compliance and accessibility criteria. Really, to minimize all overall legal risks, marketers should collaborate closely with legal and compliance departments and make sure that all their merging media platforms meet accessibility standards. So next we can look at how marketers can mitigate accessibility in published works. So understanding all the possible ways to get around these roadblocks, understanding the legal compliance issues, incorporating diversity in content, making sure you address those technological barriers and issues, and building trust and credibility with consumers are all ways to mitigate accessibility in published works. To summarize, basically, understanding and looking at all aspects of published works is important. It's very important to understand these as they relate to marketing and in general. For these published works to be read by people of all different backgrounds and skill levels, we must understand the limitations set in place and be able to do everything in our power as marketers to eliminate these accessibility issues. By doing so, we can ensure more positive growth for companies in terms of convergence, satisfied consumers, and minimizing risks. This issue will continue to arise as new technological advancements continue to occur, making it more and more important to understand those limitations. So there's a little quote right here, and it says, "Making content accessible is more than just a nice have." And it goes on to pretty much just explain, that pretty much it's just touching on the importance of increasing the accessibility of published works and emphasizing how accessibility can have a very big domino effect in terms of who can understand the information versus who is not able to. So marketers and many alike have the opportunity to increase accessibility in published works for the better of society. So there are several ways that I predict marketers and others will really get around these accessibility issues, which include increased emphasis on accessibility standards, advancements in assistive technologies, some legal and regulatory changes, if that's possible. That can definitely be implemented. Even just collaborative efforts, everyone coming together and really trying to solve these issues. So thank you so much for listening to my presentation, and I hope you all have a good day.